Hi there, and welcome to the Danny Steve Show, where we talk about issues related to accessibility, education, and other tips that you might find useful. Thanks for tuning in. Here's your host, Danny Steves.
Thank you, Julie, and, and welcome to today's episode of the Danny Steves Show. As, as mentioned, I am your host, Danny Steves, and I'm really happy to have you along on the show today. So today's guest is Lacey Buchanan. She's joining me from uh, um, Nashville, Tennessee, just outside of Nashville. So welcome, Lacey.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
So I'm happy to have you on the show.
Thank you.
So, what we're gonna talk about today is Lacey's role as a mother with a disabled child. So, if you want to jump in there and just share your story, and I'll just ask you questions along the way. So go ahead.
Sure, yeah. Well, so I have two boys, and my oldest, who is 6, was born with the medical terminology is Tessier cleft lip and palate, classifications 3, 4, and 5. And what that really means is that he was born with a facial cleft. So instead of the typical cleft that goes up into the mouth, the palate, and the nose, Christian's clefted his mouth, his palate, and up either side of his nose into his eyes. So that also left him visually impaired. So Christian is blind, and so he has a few other, smaller issues going on, but overall he's doing really well. There's a lot of rehabilitation for people with visual impairments. There's a lot of technology out there for people with visual impairments, and so he's just adapted to the world that he lives in, and he's doing great.
What are some of the other issues that he faced other than him being blind, or what, the cleft palate or whatever? What are some of the other issues?
Yeah, well, because of his vision impairment, that has caused a developmental disability. So he's behind developmentally, but has really good prognosis to catch up eventually. It just takes a lot of extra therapies and extra work on our part, on Christian's part, to get him where he needs to be. He also, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Right. Yeah. So I imagine as a mother, you must get worn out from taking care of him. What are some of your coping techniques that you use for dealing with Christian and helping him get the best life he can?
Yeah, it's tiring. Kids are tiring in general. And when you have a child that has extra needs, that just means, more to do. So it does get tiring. But overall, I feel like the thing that helps me the most is on the days where I do feel stretched too thin, just to take it day by day and remember that, every day that I'm helping Christian, I am moving him, one step closer to where he needs to be. And I am helping him get, to a place where he can be a successful adult. So, sometimes I can't look, I can't look at the bigger picture because it's too overwhelming. I just have to take it in smaller sections and think, okay, that's manageable.
Yeah. What are, what, if you wouldn't mind, just share, you mentioned that Christian is 6 years old, and when you first had him, what was your reaction like when you realized that he was disabled in some way?
Yeah, well, I mean, it was this overwhelming sense of love for my child because, no sort of disability could change that. I was just, it was this overwhelming sense of love, but just immediately following that was this overwhelming sense of being overwhelmed, I guess, with, what are we going to do? How are we going to help him? How are we going to manage this? Because there were so many unknowns. And so we were very scared and nervous about, are we adequate enough to do this job? Are we going to be able to give Christian what he needs and get him to where he needs to be? So it was very overwhelming. But the normal, typical, love your child type emotions were there, of course.
My next question is, did you know ahead of time that he was going to be disabled, or was that a surprise?
We knew that there were going to be some issues, but we didn't know what exactly they were going to be. So they had detected something on ultrasound, but they couldn't tell what it was. So we didn't know about his blindness until after he was born. We knew that he was going to have a facial difference. We just didn't know what it was going to be.
Oh yeah. And was that surprising to you when you found out how severe it was?
I mean, we're not going to take it back.
Yeah, absolutely. Like we didn't expect it to be as severe as the doctors were telling us it was. We were just sort of hoping against hope that they were, maybe wrong, that maybe things were, I'm ever the optimist. So, I was hoping maybe it wasn't as bad as the doctors had suspected that it was. But so we were surprised and shocked, definitely.
I hope this isn't too much of a question, but what were the doctors telling you at first before you had him? Like, what were they saying to you?
I mean, really, like, there wasn't any, like, hard, here's what it is type talk. It was really more, we don't really know what's going on, and, this is a really severe case, and we really need to monitor him closely. And they were saying things like, well, we've narrowed it down to, like, 8 things it could possibly be. And they gave me that list before he was born, and it happened to be none of the things on that list. And, they were saying things like, we don't know if he's going to live once he's born. And there was a lot of talk about preparing for his birth just to make sure that we were taking every precaution we could to make sure that once he was born, he was going to live.
And what were some of the precautions that you were taking? Like, what were some of the precautions that the doctors were taking in the delivery room?
The precautions really, I mean, there wasn't a lot that we could do because, it's not something you can fix. But we were having weekly ultrasounds to monitor him to make sure that his condition wasn't getting worse because they just didn't really know what was going on. So we had weekly ultrasounds to monitor his condition and then a scheduled C-section for his birth. And so they did a procedure with Christian where once he was delivered, they did not cut the umbilical cord right away. They made sure that his airway was clear first. And that was because if he was not able to breathe on his own at birth, they wanted to clear an airway before they cut the umbilical cord so that there would be no lack of oxygen for him.
Of course, yeah. And what was your husband's reaction when your husband first saw him? Like,
I think it was about the same as mine, sort of this overwhelming sense of love, and at the same time, the realization that there was, some severe things going on, and we didn't know what they were, let alone how we were going to manage them. So,
okay, we're gonna switch gears a bit. Now, I want to know how does Christian try to be a normal person? Like, what does he do for fun, and what if he act as little boy, or
yeah, he is. Christian has no idea yet that he's different. I think I remember coming to the realization as a teenager about where I was different than other people, and so Christian has no idea just yet that, he's different. And so, he loves things that a lot of other 6-year-old little boys love. He loves going outside to play. He loves to swim. He loves traveling, actually, which I think is pretty fantastic. And then there are some things about him that other 6-year-olds probably wouldn't like, but I think they make him, special and unique. Christian loves riding elevators, which I think is just fantastic, and, most 6-year-olds don't really get a thrill out of that, but he loves it. And not only that, he loves it so much that he can name the brand of the elevator just by getting on the elevator and riding it, listening to the sounds. Yeah, it's incredible. And so, he's a technology buff. He loves technology. He's got a very engineering geared mind, and I think that's going to serve him well one day.
Yeah, like when he grows up, what do you see him doing for a job?
I really see him doing something in the public eye. He loves being on stage. I speak a lot, and he loves getting up on stage with me and talking. He has been just recently. He's done 2 interviews, and he did fantastic with them. He loves radio. He loves media. He loves cameras. I really think that he could have a career in the public eye. He used to say he wanted to be a radio show host, even. So something along those lines, I really see him doing.
So did I, actually. I wanted to be a radio show host, and then I shadowed a friend of mine, and I went into the studio with him, and just the amount of
Oh, that's really cool. Christian would love that.
just the amount of stuff that you had to do to be a radio announcer, I was like, nope, that's not for me. But at least I tried it and came up with my own idea. And for myself, I am a motivational speaker as well as so just in the last year, I said, what about having my own talk show on YouTube? So that's what I'm doing, and I'm loving it. So
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
You and Christian will have to collaborate one day.
Yeah. So, now, now you've written a book about your experience. So, can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, I have a copy. I'm at my desk, so I have a copy sitting here so I can show you. So it's called Through the Eyes of Hope, and it was released in January this year. You can find it anywhere books are sold. It's easy to get off Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes and Noble, all those places, Walmart. So it's really just details the story of, starting sort of when my husband and I got married, and it sort of details the story through the first 5 years of Christian's life. And it's just a story of hope and inspiration. And I hope that when people read the book, that they will be inspired to work through their challenges and, to keep pressing forward and to trust in God. So I've just been traveling since January, promoting the book, and I mean it's been such a blast.
I know. I follow you on Facebook and social media, and you have been extremely busy.
Yes.
Yeah. So I thank you very much for fitting me in today. And
oh, my pleasure. My pleasure.
so, my next question is, do you want me to bring Christian in now, or
Yeah,
or
I can get him.
or do you want me to wait until the end of the interview, or what would you like?
We can bring him in now if you're ready to talk to him.
Yeah.
I'm sure he'll be thrilled.
Yeah.
Hey, if I can find him. Christian, come here for a second. I want you to talk to my friend. Can you come here? Hi. Can you come here for a second? Come here. Come here. Come here, talk to my friend. He's listening to some music. Come here. Step over. I've got a friend on my phone I want you to talk to. Come here.
On my phone.
Yep, he's on my phone. Come on. Come here. It's okay. We'll get it in a second. Come here. He dropped his music. Here we go. Come sit in my lap. This is our interview chair. All right. I'm going to unplug my headphones so that he can hear you.
Where's your headphones?
Hold on. Here, hold on. This is okay. Friend Danny is on the phone. Can you say hi?
Hi.
Hi, Christian. How are you doing today?
How are you doing?
Good.
Good. Yeah.
I'm in there now.
Well, hold on. Say.
So, for those who don't know, Christian has a hard time speaking, so Lacey, I might get you to translate for him
Sure.
a bit, and so Christian, what do you like doing for fun?
You tell him?
Good.
What do you like doing for fun? Speak loud.
I like swimming.
He likes swimming. Yeah.
That is fantastic. And I noticed on Facebook that you are in karate a lot. Do you like going to karate?
Do you want to do karate?
Good.
Yeah. Tell Danny what you say at karate. Yeah.
Yeah. So Lacey, what are some of the um what are some of the uh what are some of the different things he's learning in karate right now?
Well, Christian is an orange stripe belt, so that means he's already earned a belt. So that took a lot of hard work. So that was really cool. Hold on, sit still for a second. And so really, what karate teaches him is like balance and discipline, self-awareness, spatial awareness, things that he can't get visually.
I have to make my ears big.
No, those don't fit, do they?
No.
And so, and you know, just on a practical level, just listening skills. You know, he has to listen and follow instructions of his sensei. It's just overall amazing for him to do karate. I mean, it's just full circle, so good for him.
And how long has he been on karate now?
So he has been doing karate, let's see, 15 months. So April was a year.
Really?
So, yeah, so 15 months. Been doing it for a while. So, and he's always progressing.
And what are some of the special things his teacher has done for him to make it easier? Are there things that he has really gone down and made easier for Christian, or not really much?
Yeah, he's not made it easier. Christian has to follow the same guidelines as every other child who's taken the karate classes, but he has to just be taught differently. So instead of like in karate, usually the kids are in a group and there's a teacher who's showing them what to do. And in Christian's case, he has to have one-on-one instruction, and he can't watch the teacher do moves. So his sensei has to literally take his hands and his body and manipulate it and show him, you know, Christian, this is how we do this move. And they just have to repeat that over and over and over, probably more so than, you know, a child who has vision. But they just do that until he gets it, and he eventually does.
I have my this with me for you.
And Christian, what is your teacher's name?
What is your sensei's name?
Mr. Taylor.
Mr. Taylor, that's right.
And do you like Mr. Taylor?
Do you like Mr. Taylor?
Yeah.
Speak loud.
Yes.
And
I want.
so how many times a week do you do karate, Christian?
How many times a week do we go to karate? Do you remember?
16.
He said 16, but it's really just one.
How many days?
How many days?
Before we
One.
let Christian go, do you think he would like to sing a song or tell us a joke or something like that?
Yes.
Yes? Okay.
No.
He wants to tell a joke, he said. Okay. Put your knees down so they can see. Okay. Okay. He's going to tell his noodle joke, y'all. All right. Go for it. Speak loud. No.
Fake noodle.
What do you call a fake noodle, Christian?
Imposter.
Imposter? Oh, my goodness. Silly boy.
I love that you. Every time he tells that joke, I laugh so hard because it's so cute.
Yeah, he's pretty cute.
Yeah. So, well, I think we'll let Kristen go and have fun and yeah.
Thank you. You can go play again.
Oh my goodness.
All right. I'm gonna put my. Ooh.
Oh my goodness.
Thank you so much.
Oh yeah, no, he loves it. He loves being able to interview. So
So I wanted to talk to you about what what was that case that you mentioned in the news a while ago? Like um uh like you were talking about something in the news that you were pretty vocal about or
are you talking about Charlie Gard?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, would you mind sharing about that or?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I would love to. Yeah, so, well, Charlie Gard is an infant who's living in the UK. His family is from the UK, and he has been diagnosed with a mitochondrial disease, which is, it's a terminal issue, and his family is aware of that. There is now a treatment that he could seek in the U.S. that could give him a longer life, a better quality of life, and give his family more time with him. So his family raised the money and found the doctors who wanted to do the treatments, and they had to petition their government to let them come to the U.S. Of course, Charlie's in the hospital, so there's, medical releases and all that stuff. And they were just told that they couldn't do it. They weren't allowed to. And so, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Why were they told that they couldn't do it?
Well, the argument is that Charlie is going to die anyway, and so that the treatment, the people who made the decision thought the treatment didn't have enough chance of helping, and that Charlie was just, I mean, if you ask me, I'll just say it, they don't think Charlie's life was worth fighting for.
Yeah.
So they just decided that he just had to die, basically.
Can you share a little bit more about what is wrong with him? Like, what is his diagnosis?
Well, I don't know a lot about it. I did do a little bit of research on it, and so the mitochondrial disorder, it's a disorder, like a DNA disorder. So it's something genetic that he was born with. It's my understanding, and it's progressive. So when he was born, they didn't know he had it. And as he got a little bit older, I think he's around 10, 11 months old now, if I'm not mistaken. And so as he's gotten older, it has progressed. And so there's concerns about whether or not the disorder is causing brain damage. So that's sort of all I know about it.
Right, and how does that make you feel as a mother of a disabled child yourself? Would you mind sharing your views on it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, it's scary to me because, I know that doctors are there to help and to heal, and we appreciate that. However, nobody knows my child the way that I know my child, and nobody will ever love my child the way that I love my child. So when it comes to those huge medical decisions about, are we going to treat this, or are we going to just let this person die of whatever it is that we're not treating, I feel like the doctors should give all the information, and then I feel at the end of the day, the decision should lie with the parents, because the doctors have the medical knowledge, but the parents have the knowledge about that child. And I mean, as a society as a whole, when somebody gets diagnosed with cancer, we don't just go ahead and kill them. We treat, even though the prognosis is grim.
But yeah.
We treat, and then we spend as much time with that person as possible if we know that they are terminal, right? We don't just go ahead and kill them.
Yeah.
And so why should those social standards be applied differently in cases where the child is terminally ill? Yes, Charlie will probably die well before he should. He's probably not going to live a long, healthy life. However, when somebody's sick, you spend as much time with them as you can. You treat them, and you help them have as good of a quality of life as they can for as long as they can.
Yeah.
And so at the end of the day, I feel like his parents know what's best for this child, and I know what's best for my child. And so it's scary to think that if there's a medical treatment that I feel like my child needs, that I may be just told, no, I can't do it. He's not allowed to have it. It's terrifying.
Has that ever happened to you? Like, has a doctor said, no, we're not going to treat Kristen, like, has that ever happened to you?
I've not had that specifically happen to me, but I have had a lot of butting heads with doctors about what the right treatment was for Christian. So they would want one treatment, and I would want something different. And ultimately, I got the say, and I got to choose which treatment we sought. And even at one point, I had a doctor who misdiagnosed Christian and wanted to do a huge surgery on him, and I wouldn't allow it.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, and so I can't imagine being told that I didn't get that say. Christian would have gone through a huge and dangerous surgery if the doctor had gotten the final say. But that's the thing. Doctors are humans, and they can be wrong. It happens. And not that parents can't either. But at the end of the day, I was able to advocate and search for answers for my child. And I was willing to go further than the doctor was to find out the right answer and to find out that the diagnosis he'd been given was wrong.
Right.
So yeah.
So, maybe once we're off camera, you can tell me a bit more, but you don't have to do it right now. My final question was, did the doctors give you any indication when Christian was born on how long he will live or anything like that, or?
At first they just weren't really sure what was going on, but we had genetic testing done on Christian, and Christian has no genetic issues whatsoever. His disability was, honestly, the best way to say it was just a fluke. So Christian stands to live a long, healthy, and good quality life. So I tell people all the time, he's going to live to be an old man. So.
And my second final on camera question was, how, when you take Christian out in public and people notice he's different, how do they react?
I get different reactions from different people because their reactions come from within them. It's less about Christian and more about them. So most of the time we get very positive reactions. We get people who are very kind. They want to talk to Christian, or they even recognize Christian because of his social media presence. But every once in a while we will get, some stuff that's sometimes it's meant well, but it's really not. We had a guy come up to us just a few weeks ago at a gas station, and he meant well, and so I'm not upset about it, about, at him, but I am upset that Christian had to hear it. He came up to us and he said, I just want to commend you guys. I don't know how you do it. And we were like, what? And he was like, well, your son. I don't know. I couldn't do it. I don't know what I would do. And I was like, you would just love your child, sir. That's all. That's what we do. We just love our child. We don't do anything special or different. We just give our child what he needs. And like he meant well. He really, he was complimenting us, and I thought that was kind of him. But at the same time, Christian had to hear somebody say they couldn't handle someone like him, and that bothered me. So we get stuff like that a lot. Very, very rarely do we ever get somebody who's just straight up ugly to us in public because they're not bold enough. Usually if it's somebody who's going to be ugly to us, they do it over social media.
Really? Yeah. And I saw your post on what you did a few weeks ago about how someone said your child is ugly or something like that, and I was like, oh my gosh, that is horrible.
Yeah, but I just have to remember that is a reflection of that person more than it's a reflection of who Christian is,
Yeah.
Oh.
When I saw that, I was like, I have to get you on my show right away to remedy that.
Yeah, well, I'm honored. This has been wonderful.
Yeah, so I'm gonna end the recording now, and then we'll talk for a few more minutes. Okay? So,
Sure.